We'll kick it off, but welcome everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the intergalactic headquarters of Gentian Financial, as our very own Chris Doty would say. But this is our bi-weekly webinar where we try to just bring you what's top of mind and also a few hot topics here and there. So today you'll hear from myself, from Mike regarding some mutual fund capital gain planning at the end of the year, from Michael regarding a few estate planning items. Ashley, our consumer crusaders, got a few tips coming into the holidays for us, and Lisa give us our happenings. But as tradition, we'll go through our Go Big, begin in gratitude, which coming off of the holidays, coming off of Thanksgiving is fairly easy to do. There's a lot to be grateful for. But starting with myself, I'm extremely grateful for what we get to do with kind of the book club that we had, Build the Life That You Want, on Monday. Just some amazing stories from people with the life that they've built and their learnings from either the careers that they've had or even just now at different stages of life, the life that they're trying to build from here on out. It's just extremely exciting. And then some conversations through meetings the last 2 days where I just kind of go home and shake my head just in the sense of how lucky I am to hear these stories, to do what we do, and with the team that we have here as well. So with that, how about yourself, Mike?
Sick. I was just called you Chris, force of habit. I'm not quite as stoic. You'll get there one day. But so what I'm grateful for is the fact that this last year was the first year that my girlfriend Sabrina and I were able to spend Thanksgiving together in Wisconsin. It was short notice, but work opened up for her and she was able to make the trek back across the country. We were able to share that time with family and friends, and then grateful for the team picking up my slack when driving across the country on Friday. So, or not on Friday, on Monday. So yeah, grateful for all of you. Grateful for a wonderful Thanksgiving. It was great to see everybody, and yeah, grateful for carrying on forward.
Thank you, Mike. How about yourself, Ashley?
Thank you, Zach, and hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm just grateful for, same as everyone else, a great Thanksgiving with family, hosting both sides of the family, as well as just being able to utilize some of those things from book club and when to maybe just not say something, and making sure your relationships stay intact and are enjoyable amongst family and close friends, of course.
Amazing. Thank you, Ashley. How about yourself, Michael?
Thank you, Zach. I'm really grateful for the time of year that we're in. Christmas is, I had to choose a favorite holiday. It's head and shoulders above all of the other ones, just being able to spend time with family. And it's the spirit of everybody, and a little festive today by mistake, but it worked out.
Thank you, Michael. With that, we'll actually go over to Mike and hear about some capital gain planning in the next 2 weeks. Capital gains with mutual funds in a non-retirement account become kind of a big conversation for us, either behind the scenes or throughout meetings for you.
Tis the season. So year-end capital gain distributions is something that happens every year. So the magnitude that mutual funds distribute capital gains kind of depends on sort of how the market turned throughout the course of the year, the opportunities that presented themselves for trading and for making money for our clients and those holders of those mutual fund shares. So I kind of want to start at the top, talk a little bit about the capital gain distributions, what that actually is and why it happens. And basically, there's tax laws around mutual fund companies that when they make money from selling shares, just as if anybody else would, if you buy something and it appreciates, you sell it, you have a capital gain that you have to pay, the government wants. It's a piece of the pie there. So those taxes have to be passed through when that happens within a mutual fund to the mutual fund shareholder. Now, you're not just paying taxes on nothing, though. I do want to hammer home the fact that when you pay capital gains tax on these distributions that occur at the very end of the year, what you are receiving is more shares of that mutual fund company. So even though you will be paying tax, and that's only in accounts that are subject to capital gains tax, so regular brokerage accounts, your IRAs, your Roths, those sort of things, this is not a problem. You just receive more shares. The value of the mutual fund does not change, but you just get those extra shares. As the share price falls, you get more shares going forward. So in a taxable account, when you do pay that capital gain distribution, you receive more shares. That means that appreciation on a day over day basis, when you see that fund going up, that means that you're actually getting a little bit more of a gain because your shares have increased your overall quantity. So that idea there, you're not just paying taxes, nothing, you're receiving shares. Okay, first and foremost. And so when you pay these capital gains during tax season, we try to figure out an estimate so that you're ready for it come time that you actually have to pay taxes this next year. We've been going through those things. If you have a big taxable account, please reach out to us if we haven't spoken with you already. Those are things that we're going through with reviews. We're seeing a little bit less of a distribution this year in comparison to years past. Some of you on the call, I know, experienced a pretty large capital gain distributions in 2021. Those are things we want to be careful of. And in moments that we see large capital gain distributions, there are some tax planning elements that we can do and things that we can look at, including alternatives that don't actually pay to capital gains. So what are those alternatives? One would be an ETF. That's an exchange traded fund, similar to a mutual fund, less actively managed. So with a mutual fund, you gain a lot of flexibility within the actual product for the manager to make smart investment decisions. And that's why we truly, truly believe in active management when it comes to investing in mutual funds long-term. ETFs are great. They're tax efficient. You lose a little bit of that. And those ETFs that kind of follow a game plan, there hasn't been a track record long enough on those for us to truly recommend them with confidence. So we still like mutual funds regardless of these capital gain distributions. But when the time comes, we can look to make maybe a short-term change into an ETF, get back into the mutual fund. If there is to gain over that time, we have 30 days that we have to wait after selling one thing and getting back into the exact same one going forward. So lots of flexibility around that, things that we look at. We'll continue to review capital gains going forward. And as you guys have questions about these different things, and as they come up, you get this little taxable event at the end of the year, please let us know. We're happy to talk about it. We're happy to talk about our investments, why we have conviction in those that we choose, even though they have these taxable events. Because truly long-term, paying taxes now isn't necessarily such a bad thing. You do not have to pay taxes on those shares again in the future unless they appreciate. So thank you so much, Zach. Let me know if there's anything else I can answer for you.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, please go into more detail on the calculation of how those capital gains are distributed. No, that was phenomenal. A great look behind the curtain and just an example of one of the things that we do for you. So always putting things through 3, 4, 5, 6 different lenses of if we should act on it. Maybe this is an opportunity too. Do we want to get out of this fund just for a tax loss harvest, or is the benefit of holding on to this fund better long-term performance, better manager going through those? So phenomenal update there, Mike. On myself, I'll just go right into markets like we normally do as well. This one's an extremely fun one to go through for November because markets across the board have been extremely well. So when in October, like this year happens again, I'll pass it back to Mike or Michael and they can actually go through it at that point. So, but with markets, the Dow Jones, I'll round to the nearest whole number or as close as I can. The Dow Jones up 7% on the year and actually 7% on the month. So this is about the best winning streak of days for the stock market in the last 2 years, since 2021. Oftentimes we talk about one of the best principles is the worst days quickly precede the best days. The best days follow the worst days, and that's what we saw with November and October this year. So S&P 500 is now up about 18.5% on the year, almost 9% on the month. The NASDAQ, which is 50% weighted towards technology, is up over 36% or over 11% on the month. And if we go back to last year, that was the kind of the asset class, the markets that were down the most. So interesting to see the bounce back. International up 7% for the year and almost 7% on the month. Emerging markets about almost 3%, about 3% on the month. The Russell 2000, which is the smaller size companies, which has had a tougher time this year. A lot of this market growth has occurred from large cap growth companies, the Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, Nvidia, the big 7, if you will. But the Russell 2000, the small size companies are around 2% up on the year, but over almost 8% on the month. So the beautiful thing when we see that occur, a lot of the times throughout this year, if we did a normal rebalance, which we try to do every 12 months for your accounts in almost all cases, you would have bought a lot more small cap growth this year, which is up 8% on the month. So the growth side, 4.25 year to date, 8% on the month. Like I just mentioned, the value is still down about 1% on the year, but it's almost up 8% on the month as well. So just extremely interesting. If you look at your accounts, you almost received a year's worth of return in the last 3 weeks. So just a phenomenal example of our principle that we almost talk about every single week or when we're in meetings, which is faith, patience, and discipline is what it takes to be a successful investor. It's not to say that December is the worst month that we have in the last 3 years, knocking on wood as I say that, but it can occur at any single time. So we always want the financial plan to drive the investments, not the investments to drive the plan. Which is an incredibly interesting 1 month across the board. But with that, Michael, we'll switch gears a little bit and kind of go into some financial planning.
Thank you, Zach. So today, just wanted to point out a few common oversights or missing conceptions when it comes to estate planning. What we see a lot of is people procrastinating doing this when it comes to actually creating and establishing one. Unfortunately, we don't know when our day will come, and we just want to be prepared for that time and have that peace of mind that everything's in order for us when that time does come. So number one thing, forgetting to implement their estate plan or informing their inheritors that they have an estate plan. It's just important to let your inheritors know, in a lot of cases that's family, that you have an estate plan where they can go to get that at the time. And forgetting to implement it on that part, it's a series of conversations and decisions that you yourself or you and your family may have to make. So those conversations can get dragged out over time, and the estate plan is actually started but not implemented. Number two, people thinking they have plenty of time to create one. Again, I'll go back and say we don't know ultimately when that day is going to come. Especially for families with young children, there can be issues in guardianship and as well as control of those funds if something were to happen to you to help your young children. Number three, leaving room for misinterpretation in your estate plan. Not using clear language, not titling assets correctly, or writing something ambiguously where nobody's going to be able to fully understand that. If some of you have seen the TV show Succession, you may have seen that in action. Number four, forgetting about your personal property, collections, art, coins, sports memorabilia, things that we don't have in a bank account or an investment account that we can't put a beneficiary or a title to. Something very important to also consider when it comes to your estate plan. So what could go wrong without an estate plan? There could be extremely high taxes, extremely high legal fees, since being locked up for an extended period of time, and potentially leaving yourself open to public scrutiny, with probate being a public process. But as always, you'll want to talk with your estate planning attorney on different options that you have when it comes to creating an estate plan space for you. Thanks, Zach.
Absolutely, Michael. And we've unfortunately seen the best and worst of scenarios, and a few ones where, thank God, there was a estate plan in place for these particular scenarios. Otherwise, would have had to go through probate potentially. Would have been very tough for kids, grandkids to go through everything. And we've seen some very good scenarios, but then over the last few years as well, we've seen some that unfortunately took a year or two or more to drag out, and also actually pulled the family apart in a lot of cases. So not always the best thought, just like life insurance and others. It's not the greatest feeling or thought, but people have told us once they do it, they feel extremely relieved that they know that everything is going to go according to plan. So thank you for that, Michael. How about Ashley, our consumer crusader, heading into the holidays, especially after Black Friday, after Cyber Monday? Probably a good thing to talk about.
Thank you, Zach, and you lead me right into my segment. So today I'm talking about how to keep you safe this holiday, as well as, of course, to save some money. So I'm going to share my screen with you all here. And number one is just utilizing those credit card offers. Again, I just keep hounding this, but Discover Card, Citi Card, American Express cards have some great savings at stores within their apps. So take a look at your app for your credit cards and utilize any benefits that come from your credit card. But this also stands true in regards to use your credit card versus your debit card this holiday season. Credit cards offer that protection versus that debit card that your money is drained from your account should anyone get their hands on your credit card or debit card information. When you go to a store for your holiday shopping, number one, set a budget. Make a list of things for the people you're shopping for. And of course, utilize your phone, even in a store, to get the best price. Price checks on comparing stores such as Target, Walmart, Amazon. utilize that saving methods because sometimes those prices on the same item can be drastically different. Safety while shopping, so both in-store and online, of course. While you're at the store, just keep your head up, be aware of your surroundings, all basic things, of course, that we know and understand, but holiday times allow us to be more distracted than others. Having your head down constantly on your phone could allow you to put yourself in a dangerous situation. And of course, we don't want that to happen. So just being aware of your surroundings, and then shopping online, of course, watch out for scams, watch out for packages being taken from your porches, being extra alert during holiday seasons when lots of things are being shipped. And of course, lots of people are just around. Holiday decoration safety is just something that I've noticed at my own personal home. Of course, if you have a real tree, making sure your tree is watered to avoid any type of fire hazards. Candles burning, of course, the smells are lovely, but the safety of candles when kids, grandkids may be around, to just be extra cautious of those. And as well as hanging decor. Kids are drawn to stockings on fireplaces, ornaments on trees, just making sure that you have stabilized trees, stabilized stockings, and other decorations that couldn't be tugged on and, of course, pulled down and fall onto somebody else. So just looking out for all of us this holiday season, and I'm going to turn it back over to Zach. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley. And Ashley reminded me, we sometimes we talk about security a lot as far as what we do here at Gentian to protect your information and just scams to look out for in general, especially around the holiday season. This isn't necessarily a scam, but something that came up recently with if you have an iPhone, there's a new iPhone update that if your phone is nearby somebody else's iPhone, it automatically can connect to it. You can share photos, you can share contacts, but it is automatically set to have that occur. And it's not necessarily automatically set to be just only your contacts. So if you want to turn that off, if that kind of scares you a little bit, that your phone could just be next to somebody else's and data could potentially get transferred, you go to general in your settings, you go to AirDrop, and then you turn off bringing devices together. So by no means a recommendation of what to do, but I was sitting there at the table with my girlfriend at the time, and our phones were next to each other and they automatically connected, and it was like, wait, what just happened? Right. So kind of looked it up, and it was just an interesting one. I'm sure there's a lot of different layers of security to go through. Apple's pretty smart with that. But just to be aware of security wise and just in general over the holidays when it comes to putting in your information to buy things online, unfortunately, we're seeing more and more scams to go through around the holiday time. So just a few other things before kind of turning it over to Lisa, a few behind the scenes. You told us that you really like to hear the different things, not necessarily into the details all the time, but just knowing there's certain things that we're doing at the end of the year. We're super busy here, like Mike talked about, going through capital gain opportunities of the if this, then that. Does it make sense for somebody else? How much carry forward do we have from previous years? All of those fun tax item things, but also one of the best arrows in the quiver for us when it comes to tax planning are Roth conversions, especially with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that went into effect in 2017 is sunsetting in 2026. So the current tax brackets are being bumped up to what they were previously. The 12 becomes the 15, the 22 becomes the 25, the 24 becomes the 28 without any new tax law changes. So Roth conversions is one of the best arrows in our quiver, and we want to do those really over the next 2 weeks. So we have until the end of the year, but processing time behind the scenes with Raymond James and others. So over these next 2 weeks, if we talked about it at meetings and we haven't yet reached out to you for it, feel free to reach back out to us, but we try to stay on top of that as we possibly can. So another thing behind the scenes that we're really working on is also working with our COIs, our centers of influence, the things that Michael talked about. We don't necessarily around estate planning scenarios unless something happens to one of our clients specifically, but we meet with estate planning attorneys to hear the things that we should be sharing, the things that we should be asking, the things that we should be learning. Same for real estate, lenders, taxes, and accountants. They're about to get very busy. So the last 2 months we've been working heavily with them before it gets into tax season. One thing that's coming up quite a bit is really just when it comes to lending and loans, not necessarily student loans and others, but maybe somebody's building a new home and construction loans, what to do with those, how to refinance or to though we saw a couple weeks ago that the biggest disparity ever between a current mortgage that's out there and a new mortgage is right now. So new mortgage roughly around 7% for a 30-year, and the average mortgage that's out there is around 3% with all the refinances that occurred a few years ago. So just extremely interesting to observe the real estate market during this time as well. But Lisa, what should we all be knowing about here at Gentian coming up?
All right, thanks a lot, Zach. And actually, I'm just going to piggyback off what you said, because some of the RJ year-end deadlines are a little bit different to what you mentioned. The Roth conversions and any cash journal requests or distributions from an IRA, the actual deadline is December the 21st. So as Zach said, within the next couple of weeks would be more beneficial. And then on the 22nd of December, it is the gifting. I know a lot of our clients do stock gifting, and that December the 22nd is the date that is the deadline for that too. And then another important one is December the 29th, which is any of our check wire distributions and any money movements out of the account. So those are some of the dates through RJ. And then what's going on in Gentian, we have December the 9th, we have the private movie screening of, I believe it is called Wish. There you go.
Wish.
I knew it was a 4-letter word. Wish, and I've heard good things about it already. So that's December the 9th. And even though we did have the date for our CP as the 21st, we are still accepting invites. So please just email us or call us and let us know, and we can put you down for that. So that is on December the 9th, Saturday morning. And then on December the 13th, we have our bi-weekly update again, and that is crazy December, in 2 weeks that we're going to be doing that. And also on that same day, we have our December birthday club. So our luncheon, which starts at noon for all our December birthday babies, we will be doing. So please, you still register for that also. You can click there on the email that got sent out with the happenings on. And then we have a December birthday on the 15th. We have our very own Angie. It is her birthday on the 15th. And then on the 17th, we have Mike Mann celebrating his, 5th year, I believe, Gentian. So congratulations to that. And then on December the 20th, we will be doing another planning meeting, and the office hours will be closed from 9 to 5. So on that December the 20th, they'll be contacting Raymond James directly, as we will be closing. And then on December the 24th, which is Christmas Eve, actually that's a Sunday, we're not even open. So yeah, there you go. But Monday on Christmas Day, and then Tuesday, we will be closing as in England for Boxing Day, and they're totally respecting my day there. So that's great. So Monday and Tuesday, December 25th and 26th, we will be closing for Christmas. And I just wanted to let you know that I found out that Bruce Lee has a vegan brother. Did anybody know that Bruce Lee had a brother? I know Bruce Lee's passed away, but he's called Broccoli. Just thought I'd let everybody know that, because it was very interesting. So back to you, Zach.
It's a tough act to follow, Lisa. You also made me a little nervous with the 4-letter word name of the movie. I wasn't sure what was coming after that, but we'll let that one go. But thank you, Lisa. That was amazing. I feel like we should give the congratulations to me for Mike's 5 years, just for, having to put up with him for the last 5 years. So for those of you that don't know, when the building was getting built, Mike and I were in pretty much a closet back to back for an extended period of time. So it was either, really not get along or get along really well. So thankfully we chose get along they're really well.
Are you saying you're out of the closet there, Zach? So
Woo. We'll let that one slide too. But grateful for all the introductions this year. We've been very blessed to help a lot of your friends and family, especially over these last few months. It's truly been an honor with some people that have joined the Gentian family. And it's just really, really hard to believe that this is what we get to do for you. One thing I wanted to mention before I let you guys go is that a teammate of ours, Ryan Carroll, he's getting knee surgery today, actually. So send your prayers, your well wishes to him. So we're hoping for a speedy speedy recovery for him. He's a really active guy and into fitness. So, and 2 young daughters. So a knee surgery is a kind of a major mental setback. So have your prayers with him, and really just thank you for your trust. Thank you for being here with us. As we always try to mention, we really are here to plan it, to live it, and to give it. So thank you all, and have a great rest of your day.